how past experiences of a man in love and in relationships shape the current needs and expectations in their current relationship. You know, it is not enough for you to meet a man and to assume because he's looking at you nicely, he loves you, he says he loves you, and he has a good car, he has money, he has a good job, he has a good business. He looks like he's experienced in many ways and he has a lot of money floating around. And you think that is life. I'm addressing myself to the young ladies and to the wives of the current man, 21st century man. Just remember that you will not be his first. Most likely, you are not his first. He has had several experiences in this era where men marry or date to their 30s and their 40s. By the time they get there, they have had several other, marriages, not marriages rather, but relationships most likely, or even marriages. So they have had an experience in the past. They have gone through probably different types of women in their past. They have seen probably narcissistic women in the past. They have seen good women. They have seen bad women. They know all these kind of things. They have seen their friends go through the same things. They have seen their brothers and their cousins go through turmoils in relationships and in marriages. So their past is critical. They have seen their parents as well go through this, marriage thing called marriage and relationships in general. I keep intertwining the two because I want to address both the men who are married and the men who are in relationships that intend to get married. That's why I keep using relationship and marriage here. But I also want to specifically address my younger sisters and my daughters on what to expect from a man who has gone through different kind of experiences in the past. You may ignore and you're so much in love and you really do love that person from the depth of your heart. And probably because also our young girls have become very materialistic, they could be, you just looking at how wealthy a person is or how he has such a good job, he drives such a good car, and that is what you're seeing, but you're not seeing his past. You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot ignore the past experiences of a man because they shape the current expectations and the needs. They will also shape how you handle conflicts in your relationship or in your marriage in the future. People who have gone through or who have seen very tumultuous marriages in their friends, in their families, in their parents, in their, themselves, who had been tormented, men who have been tormented in the past, relationships, they tend to come with a guarded heart. They have seen their brothers and they have seen their fathers being hurt. So they come guarded. They are very guarded. They are very protected. And it is very hard to deal with such kind of a man. Because at the very first sign of danger, there are two things that they can do. They can either fight back or they can run away. They're in flight mode. Something small like this, they're gone. So if you are dating a man, or even you yourself, you are a man and you're dating, you need to know where you're coming from. What kind of experiences have you had? So that you do not project them to the new lady you're having with you. And on the other side, if you are dating a man who has come from a tumultuous relationship in the past, should it be with their parents, Should it be with their former spouses or, like former girlfriends? You need to know how to handle them, because you cannot come with a fighting spirit to such a kind of a guy. They have already built walls around them to protect them from anything that can hurt them. That's why at the slightest sign of danger, they will either run or they will fight in a way that you've never imagined somebody can fight back without using words or even physically. They don't want to be in that space, probably what they saw their fathers or their brothers go through. So, as a woman, you need to be aware of your man's past. It sounds very interesting that people, when they are dating, they do not ask these questions. They don't ask, so, how is your father and mother's relationship? Were they fighting? Ask the necessary questions. If you cannot ask the questions because you are afraid and you are timid, observe when you go to their home. Don't rush to marry a person just because you've seen them floating wealth and all that. Their past will come back to haunt you. And I'm sorry to say, but many times men who are coming from like a dictatorial kind of fathers, they will tend to behave the same way. They don't know how to negotiate. They know their word is final and what they say is final. So you need to understand that and know how to navigate that as a woman. You need to find out, how do I navigate this thing of mimi ni mwanaume, I am the man in the house. How do I navigate this thing so that I can get my way? So you need to always ask those questions and always observe. Then people avoid talking about their past relationships. I just hope that it would be good enough for each of you to be very open and say, I was in an abusive relationship before. I am trying to move on again. So there are some things that I don't expect from you. Let your needs be known. Let your expectations be known. Let the other person know what you expect of them. Do not assume that they will know what you expect them to behave, or how you expect them to behave, or what you expect from them. Do not assume that. Be aware that they could also be coming from an innocent kind of worldview. They have absolutely no clue how to deal with conflicts. You need to be aware of that. Never ignore that. Because the past has a way of showing in the future, and you do not want a bad past to show in your marriage or in a mature relationship, because it will be very hurtful. Very hurtful. Dig deep before you get deep into that relationship. Dig to the past. Seek to know how they treated their former girlfriends. Seek to know how they treat their own mother. Seek to know how they treat their sisters. Seek to know how they treat that house help in their house. Seek to know how they treat the barmaids, how they treat the restaurant workers, the ladies. Do not think you're very special, that when the infatuation and the lust ends, that they will not resort to that. They will flip back to their modes, rest mode, which is narcissistic, could be in nature, and they will be violent to you. Seek to know these things, my dear sisters. Seek to understand a man's past, how they have dealt with conflict in the past, how they view conflict in marriages, how they view conflict in relationships, and how they handle them, how they handle this. Seek to know before you commit yourself. Don't get hurt when you cannot move back or you cannot get out. And should you be in a tumultuous relationship right now, I advise you to get out. Move out. Nothing is worth your life. You can always rebuild your life away from somebody in a better way. It doesn't matter how much money they have or what a good life they have given you. If you're tormented in the heart, that's no life. But above all, to my fellow men, understand yourself and understand where you're coming from and understand your hearts in the past. Do not project them to the person you deem to love or the one you call your own. So your past experiences should not form the basis of your present experiences in love and in relationships. Take care, men of God. Adios.